I can already hear the comments of people being mad at the absurdity that is the title of this video. But I'm serious. I know the idea of this remake has gotten some really negative feedback from a lot of people, but everyone seems so focused on commenting on the negatives that they don't stop to think about what good could come from this remake. And with this video, I hope to change your mind. My name is TheGboss, and you might know me as the guy who made a video on The Last of Us Part 2 a few years ago, promised 3 sequels, and then fucked off. Nice to meet you. Before I start the video, I do want you guys to know that I am a fan of the franchise. I mean, shit, you think I would have bought that if I wasn't? But even as a fan of the franchise, I am still able to see its many flaws. So for perspective, I'm neither the type of person who sucks the dick of Naughty Dog, but I'm not the kind of person who hates the franchise mindlessly without a second thought. So now that we're clear about that, I'm gonna tell you why I think this remake is actually a really good idea, but at the same time, why I don't think it's worth our money. Ever since the announcement of the remake, gamers have been fucking fuming from their ears. It's not a real remake, all they did was improve the graphics. Wrong. We don't need a remake, the original game is perfect already. Wrong again. Naughty Dog is reselling the same game over again, it's just a cash grab. Okay, if it's a cash grab, then explain this to me. Why aren't they selling this on the PS4? You know, the console with over 100 million units sold. Are you familiar? Instead, they're selling this on the PS5, which by the way, still really hard to find. Sony even has to increase the price of it. And by the way, there's only 20 million copies out there. So if I was Naughty Dog, and I wanted to make money, and have a game as a cash grab, why would I sell them on a console that not everybody has? Seems pretty fucking dumb to me. It's ideas like this, with no thought behind them, that really get on my nerves, just so filled with hatred. And I just want to shed some light on the situation. Hopefully by the end of this video, I would have made at least one person see my perspective on all this, and maybe even get somebody to agree with me. So let's get started.
A remaster is really more of a tech art endeavor. This was remade from the ground up.
The topic of remake versus remaster is something that comes up a lot when discussing games like this. And we could sit here for 30 hours and let's be honest, we would still not reach a consensus. Because everyone's definitions are different, I want to share that from my point of view, a remaster is when you get the basic features of a game and they get an update. This would be something like upscaling the graphics or improving the frame rate from 30 to 60 FPS. As an example, we have The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3 with The Last of Us Remastered for the PlayStation 4. Meanwhile, I think a remake is more like overhauls to the game. This would be like changing how the movement works, the combat, or even sometimes the entire story. Take for example the Resident Evil 2 remake or the Final Fantasy 7 remake. You can see a huge difference from the originals to the remakes in this case. But here's the catch, a remake doesn't always mean a change to the overall game. It can also just be tweaks to the gameplay to modernize it without changing the story whatsoever. Some examples we have is Shadow of the Colossus for the PlayStation 4, or even the most recent Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, and these examples are known as faithful remakes, which are games that were remade from the ground up without changing any of the core components, but were upgraded to modern standards. Whether you want to call this a remake or a remaster, argue about it in the comments, I don't care, it's really up to you. Based on what I know and what I think, it strikes me as a faithful remake, and if you think it's called a remaster, just keep in mind that we already have a Last of Us Remastered, so what are we gonna call the new one? You know, Last of Us Remastered Part 1 remastered again for the PlayStation 5? Now featuring Dante from Devil May Cry?
This ain't gonna hold him for long. Oh, that don't sound good.
Okay, be honest. Have you tried playing The Last of Us Part 1 after playing The Last of Us Part 2? Because I did, and let me tell you, it didn't age so well. From a gameplay perspective, the movement and combat don't feel as good as I remember. Joel's movement feels very clunky and headshots don't really register that well.
What the hell, man?
And don't even get me started on the AI of the original. Enemies that run at you while you point a gun at them or do this like weird dodge side to side repeatedly or have this really shitty eyesight. On the first playthrough, you don't really notice these things, but as you go back into the game again and again and again, the more of these flaws you start to notice. Flaws that now seem to have been removed. The AI now behaving more appropriately like the sequel, with the movement being less restrictive and shooting looking more like the sequels as well. Dude, literally, you can now touch the giraffe and feel it on your goddamn controller. Yeah, I know it's stupid, but it's also kinda cool. The graphics also had a huge jump in quality. No shit, it's Naughty Dog. They've been setting the standard for good graphics for years now. They included so many small details that in my opinion really just add to the experience. Like the fog being thicker in the dam, or foliage looking even more realistic. Look at these pictures side to side. One of the pillows looks like a smooth surface. The other one, I can actually see the thread. Not just the graphics, we're also using more updated models with more detail. And to add on to that, we now have the technology of face tracking, which in my opinion, really helps sell the cutscenes even more. Facial expressions are a great way to convey emotion, and the story of this game is nothing but emotion. Compare one of the best cutscenes of this game side by side, and you'll notice how much effort was put into it. Now, Ellie looks uncomfortable when bringing up Sarah and is on the verge of tears when telling Joel she cares about him. Great performances and modern technology really help drive home what this cutscene is actually trying to do, and the remake helps with that. And if you don't see an improvement in the new cutscenes, that's fine. That just means one of us needs glasses, and I know it's not me.
To some extent, the principles behind accessibility are good universal design principles. So thankfully, we're able to think about, okay, well, if this information is only available on screen, well, then it's not accessible to a blind player.
I had to make accessibility its own separate category of the video, because it's something that I think is quite important nowadays. If there is an award that The Last of Us Part 2 100% deserved during the Game Awards, was the accessibility one. People with any sort of visual, hearing, or motor impairment could play the game. I am thankfully someone who does not have to deal with these problems, but I am also someone who thinks the first The Last of Us is one of the greatest games of all time, and I think that everyone should have the chance to play it from start to finish at least once. Naughty Dog is facilitating this wish of mine by importing the same accessibility features from the sequel onto this game, and I think that's fucking great! Not only that, but I believe it's also being ported to PC after its initial release, which in my opinion is even better, because more people who unfortunately weren't lucky enough to get a console back in the day can now experience this great game. If I may go off script for a second. When I was 13, I played The Last of Us for the first time, the day it came out. It was the first game that I finished and made me feel like I had nothing else that I could play that would top the experience I got. And this experience is now made more accessible for every gamer in the world, and that makes me happy. And it pains me a little that other people are just so focused on themselves that they can't think, this game might not be for me, but people that haven't played it before might really enjoy it. Why aren't we thinking about others for a second? If you are hate watching this video, and you already disliked and you're somehow still watching, then please leave a comment down below answering this question. Assuming you're a fan of the franchise, aren't you a little bit happy, perhaps, that people who weren't able to play it back in the day, either because of financial issues or some sort of disability, will now have a chance to play it for the first time? Personally, that makes me ecstatic. That means more people will experience one of the games that I most love in this entire world. And I hope you guys can understand that. Hello, future G-Boss here. I was hungry, I had dinner, and then it was nighttime, and the lighting wasn't good anymore, so I turned on my lamp. Enjoy the video. Now, before you click off the video thinking you've seen everything, I gotta talk shit about it. Come on, it's me, I have to talk shit about it. Starting with the obvious, the price. Are you fucking kidding me? $70? I understand that as technology evolves and games get more expensive to make, they also have to sell for more. They gotta make a profit somehow, right? But this is a fucking robbery. I don't think the price justifies the amount of content the game offers. To put it into perspective, the PlayStation 4 remaster came out in 2014. It had the main game, the DLC, and multiplayer. And it cost me almost half the price of the remake. A remake, which by the way, doesn't have the multiplayer with it, because they're making it their own project now or something. What in my opinion Sony and Naughty Dog should have done is sell this as an update to the already remastered version. To put it into perspective, when the PlayStation 5 came out, games like Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding got released at Director's Cut, which you could upgrade from the base game to the Director's Cut for not even half the price. And finally, we have to be honest. The game didn't need a remake. I think it is a remake that we didn't need, but I do appreciate. And I know I'll play the shit out of it when it comes out. But the PlayStation 4 release was fine. It didn't need to be touched. I mean, yeah, I did say before that it was kinda hard to go back to it because of its old controls. But let me tell you something. I recently played Dark Souls 1 after playing Elden Ring, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls 3 in a row. I fucking hated Dark Souls 1. Movement felt weird, the directional rolling really had me fucked up, and the areas in this game were so fucking stupid. But after a while, I got used to it. I mastered the gameplay that I didn't like, and areas that used to bother me don't bother me as much anymore. Especially because now I know how to fucking avoid them, Jesus. Fuck Blighttown, dude. The same applies with the original The Last of Us. It's crusty when you start playing it, but after an hour or two, you get used to the controls and then everything is fine. It is a remake we didn't need, but I think it is appreciated. It's more than obvious that the release of this remake is purely a marketing strategy serving as advertisement for the new HBO show, which honestly is really smart. But I don't think making games for the purpose of advertisement is correct. It's honestly kind of fucked up. I know if you are a fan of The Last of Us and Naughty Dog like I am, you do not want to see this franchise being tainted. I don't want to let this kind of hatred ruin a franchise that means so much to so many. This remake seems like it's being marketed specifically for the new generation of gamers. People who, unlike me, haven't played the original. So take this from the guy who played The Last of Us more times than he has fingers. If you are new to the first The Last of Us, you've never played it before, buy the game. If you are a fan like me and you've played this game a lot, do not buy it. Save your money. Last of Us Part 2 had its fair share of criticism, some really valid, some not. But unfortunately, since its release, people just associated the franchise and its creator with awfulness, making us forget what really made The Last of Us 1 great to begin with. And the remake is just one more opportunity for us, fans of the original, to relive the magic and experience it in a better way. Thank you for watching the video. Hi, hello. I know, I don't upload as much. Remember when I said I was gonna upload every month? Fuck you. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and please leave a comment down below saying your thoughts about the remake, okay? Bad, good, you want to call me the N-word? Fine, I don't care. But I think it's important for us to talk about this, and I'd like to hear your perspective on it. So with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah, kisses. I'm gonna go masturbate now.